Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanis Coughlin from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and what am I? I'm a Celtic Shamanic High Priestess, a galactic ambassador, intuitive energy healer, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Tchaikovsky. Jen, why don't you tell us what you do?
Yeah, I am a registered psychotherapist, a certified Canadian counselor, an intuitive life coach, and I do the Reiki master and all the energy stuff too.
Awesome.
There you go.
We
And
just do
hello,
stuff, as we
hello.
always say, right? We do
There you
stuff.
go.
Stuff. Yeah. So big hello to Gerald for joining us. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you had issues. Yeah, well, it's Mercury retrograde, right? So welcome to it. We had a few as well. So, we do what we can do. Hello, Kaylee, Pogo. Thank you for joining us. And we've got Jackie. Hello, hello. Thank you all. Uh, Kaylee says, hooray. Yes, we're here. We made it. We made it. We made it. We're excited to be here with everybody. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. And I do stuff. Yes, we do stuff. And if you're nap lurking,
I love
how
it.
can you nap and lurk at the same time?
It's good. You get to rest and listen and enjoy. I love
This
it.
is true. This is true. So, welcome everyone. We're so happy that you joined us today, and it's quite a day. It is energetically. It is quite a day.
It is quite a day.
Yeah.
It is quite
So, don't know about you guys. I'm exhausted today. It's just a tiring day. I don't think I slept well. I think I was up earlier than usual, and it's just.
It's a lot of work last night too.
Yeah, I think we were busy in the astral, eh? We were doing stuff. Oh, thank you. We're both feeling kind of tired, so that's really nice to hear.
Very sweet, very kind.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. So we work a lot in the astral, Jen and I. We don't talk about that very much, but we do a lot of work in the astral as well. And so some nights are busier than others. And I think last night was a busy one.
It was a busy one.
And it followed us into the day. So
that happens sometimes.
It does. It does. So we have a big week. It's going to be quite a gangbuster. Yes, exactly, Indigo. Yep, absolutely. Here too, it's cooler than usual, and so yes, it definitely makes me want to sleep.
I don't know about where you guys are, but we're supposed to be getting some really hot weather again. So it's going to be like a lot of ups and downs, roller coaster kind of weather, which always makes it, a little.
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. Okay. Yeah. So definitely exhausted, astral and vivid dreaming, fighting a headache since yesterday. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I was on. I was visiting on a show last night with Scott from Scorpio Sun Tarot, and I think there were four people on there with headaches. So there was a lot going on. Oh yes, okay. So West New York. Yeah. Well, it's been cooler here, but I guess we're going to get some heat coming in.
So we're going to be going up past the same.
Yeah. And we've got all the hurricane sort of stuff happening too, right down the coast. So, we feel it, whether it's in our area or not. We tend to feel it coming, and we also have some big transits and stuff happening right now. I know we've got, as of tomorrow, we have 7 planets in retrograde. And tomorrow is, no, not tomorrow, Wednesday. So as of Wednesday, sorry, I'm thinking Tuesdays today. I don't know why I'm on here. I shouldn't be thinking Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. But we've got, on Wednesday, we have 7 planets in retrograde starting then, going till like the middle of October. Some of them are in and out there, but for the most part, it's going to be like that till middle of October. And I know that we also have our second super full moon. So it's a second, like it's a blue moon, a blue super moon on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So we are in for a fun week.
I love these comments. You guys are so awesome.
So here's what we're seeing, guys. So messes with the sinuses. Yep. Yep. Help us, Lord. Definitely. We're going to need that. That is a lucky 7 retrograde. I'm hoping. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We're getting a question about the puppies, Jen. How are your puppies doing?
They're doing great. They're doing great.
They're so
They
cute.
don't seem to be bothered by any of it. They're just, loving life and
they're being
chewing
puppies.
on rawhide. They're happy.
They're being puppies. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Growing and having a good time.
So I can put these on so I can actually read your comments a little bit more clearly. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Hey. Look at that. I can see. Nice. What have we got in the human design for our transits today, Jen?
Well, and it's interesting, right? So we're talking about all of this and feeling all of this and everything. And then here we are entering into the 40, which actually is the gate of aloneness in human design. But in the gene keys, the shadow side of that is exhaustion, right? And this kind of idea of, am I putting my energy into too much, right? Like, what's going on here? What am I doing with that?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the cat now playing with
we have our other
treats.
Our other mascot.
I get into it.
The cat with her own page.
Yeah, right.
Her own webpage.
So I know she's.
You need to check out Jen's website because there's a whole web page for Rabia.
Oh yeah, she's the office assistant. So she's got her own page on there. It was fun. It was fun to make. Yeah. So just this kind of idea of, how we were talking last time about this, are we spreading, how were we? Let's see. Let's go back for a minute. So we were looking at, can we commit? What are we're kind of going through, looking at maybe this kind of half-heartedness and then moving into devotion. And we were looking at, kind of what was coming up for us about what do we want to commit to. Well, now we're looking at exhaustion, right? Like, are we kind of spreading ourselves too thin? And this kind of gate of aloneness, right? It's in the will center. So it's this idea of, what is pushing us, what is driving us, but it also has to do with community, right? So there is this part of us that, wants to do for community. And so we're trying to do, but in trying to do, we're just, it's giving of ourselves in excess, right? Yeah. And so being really mindful of that and being really mindful of, not giving so much that we're depleting ourselves in the process, right? And so how do we give of ourselves in a way that is not depleting, right? How do we find this place of resolve in ourselves that is only giving what is necessary, but is also allowing space for us to be able to regenerate what's needed within, right? And taking that time to replenish ourselves, and be able to really, find that balance, right? And so, being able to have that exchange where, when we come in contact with others, let's say we are doing that, we are taking that time to really take care of ourselves, but then we meet somebody else who's really stressed, right? That feeling, that pull, right? Because I know you guys have experienced this.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who hasn't, where we feel that pull, right? That kind of depletion coming, and we're like, oh, I just can't do it anymore, right? Right? How do we take that time to step back and say, okay, you know what? Sorry, I have to take this away from her.
So I'm just picking some self-care cards.
I just have to give her a treat.
Oh,
She's like,
wanting a
this is
treat.
what I need for my self-care. I need a treat. There you go, lovey. And then we can, take that time and say, you know what, like, I need to take a step back. And sometimes that's what we need for our self-care, right? To say, you know what, like, I'm going to, stop here, and I'm gonna change this exchange, right? And that can be so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where we shift the exchange so that no longer are we being depleted by it, but that in the exchange, we're both being filled.
Yeah.
Right? And that's such a different way of having an exchange with somebody, because it's no longer this kind of, I'm being pulled on so fiercely. It really can be a beautiful thing that can change the world, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's this movement that has to happen within us first, that then can happen with others, right? So we first have to take the time to really work on that.
Yes, for sure. You're hearing a lot of tiny voices in the background?
It was the cat banging on the bag of treats. I
Oh,
knew it.
I was like, what?
That's what I kept saying, is she's driving me bonkers because she wouldn't stop banging on the bag.
So we had a question: is it human design? And the answer is yes. That's human design that she's looking at.
Yeah, this was specifically the Gene Keys and Richard Rudd's work.
Oh, okay. So it's more that.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. We had this is Rachel saying she's exhausted. Absolutely. Yeah, we were all saying that. It's definitely a thing. And golden healer crystal. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And actually, that's one of the cards that I picked. So, oh, okay. She's talking about hearing voices from the other realm. Yeah, it feels like the veil is pretty thin. It's easier and easier, and the higher our vibration is, the more we tend to hear stuff, right? So that's understandable. And Indigo Jaguar says that was beautiful, Jen. So thank you. Rachel says it happens to her a lot. Hey, Margie. So Margie's dropped in and she's saying emotionally drained this week. Oh my. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She says she's going to have to research that. So Jen is actually going to be giving a course very soon at Twillow Lifestyle Academy about human design, possibly Gene Keys, but I think human design is first on the list.
We'll start with human design as a basis.
Yes.
But Gene Keys, I think, are absolutely phenomenal, and I would definitely want to do something for them as well.
Yeah, awesome. And so also I picked, while Jen was talking about that, I kept hearing self-care, self-care, self-care. And I'm like, yes, I know. They're like, no, for everybody. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought they were just, telling me. And so, because they do that to me. So I picked a couple of cards out of my self-care deck. And so this is for everybody. This is so it's a be still. Be still. Meditation, right? Be still. Alone time, which sounds pretty appropriate, considering. Build strength. And when I picked it, I kind of went strength, and they're like, yes, not just physical strength. Physical strength is great, but also that emotional strength, the resilience. Okay. And then the other thing is to connect with crystals. So Indigo Jaguar, it was funny when you put that up, because I had just picked the Connect with Crystals card. And so absolutely connecting with crystals. But it seems to be a time of self-reflection as well, because I also got make a vision board. And so really it is a time to sort of self-reflect on where you want to see yourself, you know, 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, where do you want to see yourself? It's a manifesting time at the moment. And so that is definitely, you know, part of that is that
Mhm.
self-reflection, deciding where we're going, all of that stuff. Um, so, so Anna, I'm not sure we're going to be picking cards today. That was just kind of a collective read on how we're doing. What we usually do is we pick a card from this deck, which is for a topic, and then we have a discussion around that topic, along with some other antics that we often throw in. But for the most part, that would be our thing. For this show in particular, if you're looking for a reading, Michelle and I do readings on Wednesdays at 7 Eastern. And occasionally Ramsey and I'll do them on Friday, but that's usually discussion as well. So usually this one is it's our chat. We have authentic conversations about a topic. So so welcome though, Anna. You're welcome to ask questions, and certainly if it's about something spiritual related, we encourage conversation in the chat. We love to have conversation with you guys and see what's happening and all that. So yeah, is there anything else we need to know from the gene keys or the transits, Jen? Did I cut you off? I don't know if I interrupted.
Oh, well, whatever comes kind of comes.
Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, this is
it's
it's interesting. Well, I mean, there's so much that we could get into, right, around all of these, and then every once in a while I'll kind of get into the channels that are connected to it, or the centers that are involved in it, things like that. But one of the things that Richard Rudd talks about when he gets into the 40 is talking about the chi, right, our life force, and what is involved with that. And so he talks a bit about that here, right? And so one of the things that we have to be really careful about is getting into this kind of like victim of fatigue, right? And what that does to our life force energy, right? And I talk about this a lot in my sessions with clients too, and I know you do as well, being really, really mindful about the way that we narrate our experience and the words that we use and the power of the words that we use, right? And so if we're always saying, and I know I'm a victim, I do this to myself all the time, right? I'm so exhausted, right? And you just feel the energy drain from your body as you say it.
I think we've all done that, right? So
exactly. So just noticing, what we're doing to ourselves as we talk about these things, right? And noticing like, okay, if there is something that's coming up for me and I truly do not feel that I have the energy for that, that's okay, right? But notice that, and notice that, what, it's not that I have no energy, it's that I don't have the energy for that right now, right? And just pay attention to that kind of stuff and how that comes up for us, because how we use our energy is very, very important. And the way that we talk about the energy that we have is very, very important, right? So notice those kinds of things, and notice the cycles that we have within us, and how we use that as we move forward, right? Because the whole point in all of this is noticing our patterns, right? So as each one of these things come in, we notice the patterns that we have and what's going on with our pattern. Are we tending towards the shadow pattern? Are we looking towards the gift pattern? Are we striving towards the siddhi pattern, right? And so what does that actually look like for us? And so we want to notice it, we want to observe it.
Beautiful. So the card that we got goes with that. Patience.
Oh, lovely.
I accept that everything happens in divine order. I know there's one of you out there is going to be like, patience. We've had conversations lately. Um, so patience.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your pizza. Let's just get back to our comments here quick. So Heather's going off to have pizza. Enjoy your pizza.
Oh, enjoy.
And Gerald has put the link in the conversation so that you have that about human design, because she went and talked on Gerald's show, Tarot Stash. You can go check that out on his link.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Gerald.
And what else have we got here? Oh, Liz. Hi, Liz. Nice to see you. We had a nice chat this afternoon. And Kaylee whistles. Mm-hmm. Hi, Lisa. Nice of you to join us. It's good to see you. Thank you all. So, patience.
Mhm.
Hi, Jennifer. Joyful Journey. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, hello.
Beautiful. Hello.
Patience. It's such a beautiful and such a difficult thing.
Yes. It is. Oh, beautiful. Hello, Purette. Thank you for joining us. Yes. Kaylee says my favorite word. I think, is that perhaps sarcasm? Oh, Amanda says she's out with the pup. Lovely. And what kind of pup are we out with, Amanda? Awesome. So, patience. Divine timing. This is like not the same timing as human, I want it now timing.
Yeah, right?
Have we noticed that? Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do we work on patience?
Well,
how do we
and the
trust
thing is,
that it's divine timing and not jump in?
Well, and it's interesting because the siddhi for this, which we didn't even talk about, is divine will, which is so interesting when we talk about divine timing. Right? Because, there have been so many times, and I can talk from my own experience, where I have wanted something to be a certain way and realized down the road that my way really was not the best way.
Yeah.
Right? But it wasn't until I, was given a different option, which I would never have gotten if I had gotten my way, did I realize that, oh, wait a minute, this other way that would never have revealed itself had this thing I wanted come through actually is what is meant for me to journey towards.
Well, that's like the Garth
Right?
Brooks song, right? Unanswered Prayers. I don't know if you've heard that, but check that one out, guys. It's all about that. Sometimes the best result is from unanswered prayers, right? If the prayer had been answered, it wouldn't have been the best result. So,
yeah. And this is the piece, right? Is we can want something, but just because we want it or want it to be a certain way doesn't mean that it's actually correct for us.
Exactly. We don't have perfect knowledge, right? And that's why it's cool when we can tap in to the guides, right? They have the perfect knowledge, but they do not have the ability to pick this up and move it, right? We have the ability to pick this up and move it, but we don't have perfect knowledge. So when you can marry the two, that's where you find a beautiful, magical time when you have that going on.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is that surrender piece, which is another really, really tough yet beautiful word that makes patience possible.
Oh, there we go. Thank you for joining us, Cosmic Blue Avian. I call it receiving in our creation in a package. You just don't you technically wouldn't have chosen it, but but it is what you created. Yes. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Wonderful. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we do have a dog now. So Amanda is out with her half Chihuahua, 20% chow. He's okay with her texting, so we're happy about that.
Okay,
Please
good.
thank him. Thank him for us.
And it's lovely that he's showing you patience.
Yes, he's showing you patience. That's wonderful. It's perfect.
Yeah. How about you guys? How does patience show up in your experience? And how are you with it?
And speaking of the fatigue, when I'm tired, I'm not as patient.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time being patient when I'm tired.
Yeah. I got to say, there are definitely times where it's easier than others.
And there's certain people in your life that you're more tolerant of or more patient with than others, depending on the day, depending on what's happening. If that's the case, I often will do some Ho'oponopono. If there's somebody that I'm not being very patient with, it's usually an indication I need to do some Ho'oponopono on them.
Yeah.
Yes, or hungry. Yes. Who gets hangry?
Mm-hmm.
Who here gets hangry and is not showing patience when they're hungry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I know if I'm really, really hungry, I have trouble being patient, especially for the food.
And don't get in
My
my
partner
way
can
for
attest
that,
to that.
right?
He'll come up, food, where, why, food, no, food, hungry.
Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
what are you? Like,
Exactly.
as I just start eating whatever's there.
Yeah. You're making dinner and you've eaten half of your food before you even get it in on the plate because you're like eating the veggies before you put them in the pan.
I do that anyway, though. If I'm cutting vegetables to cook, I'm just snacking on them all of the
Yeah.
time anyway, just because
Well,
I love
it's veggies. We can have as much as we want of veggies. Ah, yes.
You make a very good
This
point
is
there,
very
Gerald.
true. Very true, Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
We can be patient with others, not with myself. I'm learning how to be patient with myself. Yes. I think I am a
Mm-hmm.
work in progress for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it true that we're impatient with ourselves, but somehow we manage to project that on other people, even when we
Yeah.
don't mean to be? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Lisa says, yes, Jennifer, I want to control in many. So it shifts to some other emotions, such as anxiety or depression. Yeah, I think we've all
Mm-hmm.
done that. Yeah. Jackie says, sometimes we need to cut ourselves more slack. Absolutely. Doing the heart.
Definitely.
Yeah, I talk about the Ho'oponopono, right? Doing it on ourselves too. Super important, right?
Yeah, I think that's where we differ, right? Because you use it for other people, whereas I solely recommend using it for yourself. So we have different like ways that we use it.
Well, I do it on myself
Mhm.
as well, but I think it's
Mhm.
great to sort of work on the other as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and Cosmic Blue Alien, as an artist, it helps teach me a human
Mhm.
entity. As a human entity, it allows me to respect the process of what the medium requires. Often there are a couple of steps and discipline and patience is required. Yeah, especially if you're using like oil paint, right? Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely a thing. Um, so for sure, I do some painting as well, so I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, art is one of those things that, I mean, any kind of craft kind of thing makes you if there's something that you have to follow task-wise,
Mm-hmm.
even in recipes and, cooking and stuff too, right? If there's you have to follow this step, then that step, then that step. Patience is required if you want to make sure that you do it correctly. Even if you're being, creative and kind of just going with the flow, there is steps to it in some way. If you're even just getting intuitively, okay, now this, then that, then this, then that.
Mm-hmm.
There is this kind of stepping back and almost getting out of your own way kind of air to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, really, ultimately, with patience, I find that's what it is. I have to just get out of my own damn way sometimes.
Yep. And Gerald says it has to dry. Ugh. Absolutely. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Me, I used to work with acrylics mostly. I say used to just because I haven't done a lot in recent times, but I used to use a hairdryer because I was so impatient.
Oh my.
Use a hairdryer in between. Which is fine, but don't use it for things that are like really runny, like watercolor, because it doesn't always work. Because you end up pushing the paint across the page, and then it just gets messy. And yeah, So,
Yeah.
hello, Krista. Thank you for joining us. How are you? Good to see you.
Hello. Be patient.
Oh, there's a good
Yeah.
insight. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely.
Yep. And we color our lives, don't we? So our lives can be like art. They're theater because we're all just playing a role. So that is a form of art. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's amazing, we compartmentalize so much of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
really, right? And there's so many things that, in this area, it's like, oh yeah, I get it. And then in this area, it's like, nope, just can't.
Yep.
And yet really, we could choose to ebb and flow through so much of it in a different way if we allowed ourselves to, see things in more of a flowing fashion.
We could. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It has been a wild retrograde. We were just talking about that, how the energies are a little wild. And then our topic is patience, which is quite appropriate considering the energies. But it's all happening for us, not to us, right? Because all this does is it just retrograde is all about that self-reflection. It's that going inward. It's that being still and spending some alone time and going inward, deciding where you want to go, who you want to be, who do I want to be tomorrow, and having patience as we develop who we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. And knowing that we talk about, like, how people say, don't compare yourself to anybody else, compare yourself to who you were, all of that. But like, even who I am today compared to who I was yesterday, compared to who I will be tomorrow, like, I have no idea if that comparison even makes sense or if that's even worth doing. Because, who I am today versus who I am tomorrow, tomorrow's me might not have slept well and may not have the same spoons as today's me has.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know.
It's true. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And Kaylee says, being patient, ha ha ha. Cosmic Blue Alien, my icon on here is one of my paintings, and it was made in such interdimensional bliss that I love that form of how divine patience is so serene in the now. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Art can be such a spiritual experience, can't it?
Yeah.
And I'm learning to be patient with myself, especially when I'm feeling off. Yes. Mhm.
I love that though, right? What Cosmic Blue Radiant said, divine patience in the now, right?
Mhm.
Because this, again, we talk about, you know, this idea of, anxiety and stuff like that and depression and, really being in the moment, right here, right now, right? Allows us that ability, that presence, right? We can be patient. We can allow things to be what they are if we can stay truly present,
Right.
right? It's really hard to allow things to be what they are, to wait for another moment, to allow things to unfold if we're not able to stay fully present,
Mhm.
right? So I just think that's a beautiful way that you expressed that. So thank you.
Mhm. I agree. We
Mm-hmm.
what an awesome community. Yeah, there's all this like
I know. You
great
guys are
support
incredible.
going on here. We've got lots of love happening. You guys are awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
this
Daryl. The
this
best chatters. We do have the best.
exactly. Yeah. And being patient with ourselves, especially when we're feeling off. I mean, that's when we need the most patience with ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Flowy.
Yeah.
Yeah, flowy. Let's go for flowy. We'll try
Mhm.
that. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are
Yeah.
too.
Thank you. Yeah.
You guys are too.
Yeah. Flowy is important. Being able to go with the flow
Yeah.
of things.
So let's talk about some hints. How do we go with the flow? But for me, one of the biggest
Mm-hmm.
things is being present in the moment, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
worrying about the future or feeling guilty or shame about the past. If we can be in this present moment, because right now, especially if you're in fear, right? Because you take yourself out of fear. Because right now, in this moment, okay, I'm safe, I'm happy, I'm present in this one moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Yeah.
necessity for fear in this moment. I mean, if you're in
Yeah.
danger, then obviously that's different for that moment. But this particular
That's
moment
a
for me,
different
I'm
story.
good. But if we can
Yeah.
stay in the current moment, like Blue Avian was saying, that divine bliss in the moment, the now moment, it really helps to stay out of.
Awareness, being the observer,
Yes. How do we
right?
step out of the
If
triangle? Go ahead.
yeah, if in this moment I can recognize, oh, okay, wow, that's what's happening. Huh. Okay. Right? And I can do that without judging it.
Oh yes, but that's the challenge.
That's
We
the
can observe
challenge,
it,
right?
but it's to take out the self criticism, the judgment
Mm-hmm.
of ourselves and others, not to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, comparison can be a tricky one. Like,
Yeah.
they're going so much faster than me. How do I have patience when somebody else is advancing faster or whatever the case is?
Yeah. But if I can look at it and go, oh wow, okay, that feels a certain way,
Mhm.
right? Okay. Well, I don't want it to feel that way. Ah, there's the kicker.
Yes.
There it is. Okay. That's the issue. All right. All right. The issue, the thing that I don't have the patience around is the I'm here and I want to be there and I'm not okay with all this in between stuff.
Yeah, because it's uncomfortable
Got it.
for whatever reason, right? This in between is
Right.
uncomfortable. I don't want to be uncomfortable, but we have to feel all of
Yeah.
that. That's part of being human, is learning to feel all of that.
Yeah.
So Fogo Pogo Kaylee says, I know I'm in flow when something that would have caused me anxiety doesn't any longer. So she adds this
Beautiful.
piece. there was worries a few weeks ago about me losing my job. And before I would have gotten depressed and anxious, instead I said, well, it will be, it will because,
It will be because better things are coming
right.
for me.
That's right. I'm
Yeah.
having a disconnect from eyes to mouth today. So, yes. And she says she's never caught herself with that before. So,
Yeah. Beautiful. Absolutely
awesome.
beautiful.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And there's
No,
that
I think that's
support.
phenomenal.
Beautiful.
And that's the thing, right? We can choose to get caught up in the fear and then let the fear carry us away. Or we can say, one, I have no control over this fear that's trying to, take me for a wild ride. So if I go there, if that happens, I'm going to deal with it when I get there. And if it happens, it's got a greater purpose.
Well, and
That's
isn't it true that most of the time we don't even, um, a lot of the stuff that we worry about or that we're fearful of doesn't even really come to pass, right? And we spend all that energy doing that when we don't
so
need to.
much.
I mean, I think we're all guilty of that at one point or another, but it's
Mhm.
amazing how much energy, if we could stay in this now moment, how much energy we would save on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Curious how others stay as an observer and be objective, not label anything or anyone in their moment. My child on the spectrum requires my absolute presence at all times. He senses if I'm off balance. I bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
he
they're
would.
super sensitive, aren't they? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a tough one, right? And it's a lot of it is continually checking in with yourself. And that takes a lot of work, right? You know, we it sounds like you do a lot of your own practices as well. And I like to explain it to clients in this way. I'll use a sport analogy just because it's easy. So let's say we were on a soccer team, right? And we knew we had a big game coming up. And we said, "Oh, this team that we're going to be playing, man, they're tough. They know exactly. They've been watching our games. They know how we play. All right, what do we want to do about it? Oh, I got this game plan. Let's play this particular play. Oh, okay, this is a new play. You think we got it? Yeah, I think we can do it. Okay. All right, let's go for beers. No way, man. We'd be practicing that new play every day for hours and hours and hours so that when we got to that big game, we would just know it. Muscle memory, every part of us we'd have it down.
Yeah.
Right? So we would be in that game and we would have it. We would be able to do it without it. Any part of us would just not hesitate. Right? And so when we talk about doing the work, when we talk about having a meditative practice, when we talk about doing our deep breathing exercises, when we talk about doing all of these things, we do them so that in those moments when we really, really need them, it's not even a thought. They just come to us.
Yeah.
And we're going to do them naturally without even thinking about it. Right? And so it's, how many times do we, for our own well being, go, oh, yeah, okay, that's a great idea. Next time everything goes to hell in a handbasket, I'll remember to do that. No, you won't. I sure wouldn't. If I didn't practice it all the time, I know I wouldn't. I practice it all the time and I still don't always remember.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to really, really make it an all the time thing. It can't just be I'm going to practice it once a day and that's it. It has to be an ongoing part of our reality if we really want it to be an all the time. I'm going to be observing. I'm going to be checking in with myself. Set an alarm. Every half an hour it goes off. Okay, body scan. What's going on with me?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Right. What am I thinking? Oh, that wasn't being really nice to myself. All right, cool. Let's fix that. All right. All right, let's maybe do some tapping. Bring it in. All right, I got this. Okay, we're doing all right. Go through the motions. bring it down, do what you got to do to get yourself realigned, and then move back on through your day.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for me. Those are the things that I have found that I've had to do to really maintain it and keep it as an ongoing throughout my day kind of thing.
Yeah, it's certainly valuable to check in with yourself regularly. So what do I need? What does my body need? What does my mind need? What does my energy need? Right? And doing that regular check-in. That's something, when we start to do it more regularly, it does become a habit. So we can tap into that habit. It's very true about the muscle memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jackie says, very balanced and laid back, always ready to go with the flow. That's awesome. But then there's this side. Sometimes to the extent that I come across as not showing enough emotion, but I'm learning to do better with that. But what's enough versus not enough? Right?
Yeah, I hear you
Like
on that one, Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the muscle memory thing of breathing, because the breathing is part of the patient's thing too, right? The more we can get in the habit of breathing, because we just don't remember to do that if we're in a stressed space. I remember I was having a rough day, and I was picking up on it was the day that Facebook and Instagram all went down, and there was like this mass world panic, and I had no idea that it was gone down. I was like going about my day, and being sensitive, I all of a sudden was like in this panic, and I'm like, why am I feeling panicky? And I was crying, and I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. All of a sudden, I'm like, and I had to use my old call a friend thing, because I was like, I'm having something happen, and I have no idea what's happening. What is going on? And the first thing the person said to me was, okay, breathe. I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, square breath. That's what I need to do. I went into that, and of course, it changed the whole way I was, thinking and feeling. And so when we don't remember to do it, that's why the muscle memory thing is important, right? If we can train our body to kind of go into that breathing automatically, when we start to feel that, then we can start to move through it faster in a more regular way.
Yeah. Yeah, and the laid back piece, because we talk a lot about, the anxiety part, and there is an attachment piece. And I think that we have to look at, how can we be detached yet still loving?
Yes, I was talking to somebody else about that. You and I have talked about that before. And I do feel it's part of the spiritual journey to an extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked about that. I remember I used to feel really like this is going to sound weird, but I used to be like super ultra concerned about all of my clients, right? And it's because I was like trying to play the hero in what I was doing. This is when I was first started. And I didn't realize that at the time. I was just like, I hope they're going to be okay. And what if they're not okay? And all of this stuff, right? And really, it's going to be what it's going to be, and it's meant to be that way. Once I started realizing, like, I don't have control over their actions or reactions, so all I do is offer what I can offer, and then where they go or how they go forward with that is really up to them.
Yeah.
We have free will. That's what that free will is all about. And when I started to step into that and realize, like, I only have control over my actions and reactions. I don't have control over other people's actions or reactions. It gave me that ability to be more of the observer in my practice, which is healthier for everybody. Right? But it's like a step almost in your progression of your spiritual journey. And it's not just a step. It's like, you're going to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing in that whole thing. And you still end up back sometimes feeling embroiled in it. It's that it's the drama triangle thing that we've talked about so many times, right? If we can pull ourselves out of the drama triangle where we're either trying to play victim, villain, or hero, and if we can pull ourselves out of playing those roles, like we said earlier, we're just playing a role in a theater, right? So if we can pull ourselves out of that, that's where we can have that more of a detached observer role. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So the comment earlier about being able to, how do I, because that idea of being balanced but not being able to be laid back, or how to, really become the observer piece. A big part of being able to do that is really about being able to detach from the outcome
right.
of what happens, right? That expectation piece.
Yeah.
Patience is such a big part of that, right? Because, even in the line of work that we do, there are times where like I will say something to a client and I know the client has heard this before. I know I'm not the first person to say it to them, and I know I'm not going to be the last person to say it to them. And then they'll come back at some point and be like, I heard on this podcast this thing, and man, it just I'm like, oh really, what? And they say, and I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome.
Hey, were you watching Twillow Talk? That's what you say.
Right? And it's like, and it's okay, because it doesn't matter.
No,
It doesn't matter
exactly.
where it came from. The fact that it had that moment for them was like, that is freaking amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, it led them to where we've been trying to go anyway, right? But somewhere down the line, somebody said it in a way that it worked, right? And it got them where they needed to go. And that's beautiful.
Exactly.
But if in that moment my response was, damn it, that's what we've been talking about all this time, like blah 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 blah. Well, then my attachment to it
Yeah.
would have been detrimental,
Right.
right? And my own anxiety and all of that would get in the way, right? And so this is where, we do what we do, but we don't have to have attachment to it.
Yeah.
And so we can be patient and we can allow things to unfold however it is they're going to unfold, and they can be whatever it is they're going to be. And sometimes that is harder than other times, especially, Jackie, like when it's our kids or things like that. It can be really, really tough, right? To see them do something and just be like, you're going to learn it the hard way? All right, you're going to learn this one the hard way.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. It's okay. Right? And we're gonna have to sit back and let them do that. And it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And it's not easy for us to sit back and watch, and it's not easy to, have them go through. And there is a lot of patience that's needed for stuff like that.
Well, and our kids, you so don't want them to go through that because we care, right? We
Not
love them. We don't want that sort of thing. But, we also have to think, so were there times when we were teaching them that we made them go through that? So you think about even teaching them to tie their shoes. We made them go through the frustration of not being able to do it so that they could tie their shoes because you can't do it right the first time. And so there's so many things in their lives that they're going to do that with. And we can tell them, but if they don't listen, they're going to learn. They're still going to learn. They learn from us, from our comments. And sometimes we have to go through these things. We have a soul contract to learn this particular lesson, this particular way. And that's just kind of how it has to be for that. Right? So
Yeah, and we're all gonna learn differently. And if you got a 3 in your thing, you're gonna learn it by experience, whether you like it or not.
exactly.
And by thing, I mean your design, your profile.
Yes, by human design. So, Cosmic Blue Avian. Also, I have been wondering how to accept the challenges and individuals who have agreed to interact with before we came. How to love the more expanding and painful parts that come with patience. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. I don't know if we can reflect on that. Do you have anything for that?
Yeah, it can be tough, right? And sometimes contracts are tough, and sometimes they come to an end, right? And sometimes they continue on, and we have to stay with the painful parts. And, in my own experience, because that's what I can speak to, I think if we can honor the role that the other person has to play for us and the growth that we're going to get from that, it can help us through the painful parts, right? I know that there have been contracts in my experience where, I've had to play the bad guy and other people have had to play the bad guy for me.
Yeah.
And it has been very, very difficult. And in all of those experiences, the moment that I was able to bring gratitude into them, as difficult as they were, it changed the experience for me. And even though there have been times where it has been heartbreaking and painful, being able to shift the experience in that way to recognize that this is not happening to me, but this is happening for me and for my highest good, and that there is something that I am meant to get from this, and that once I'm able to get that, I can move through this experience. That is what has allowed that change to happen for me.
Right. Yeah, a little bit. We're talking about a heavy topic now. Patience can be heavy when you're talking about, not when you're talking about outcome and detaching from outcome. That's kind of where we're at. No, it's nobody's fault. It's just what came up, right? Nobody's fault. Hello, thank you for dropping in.
Thank you.
Hi, Deborah. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in. So yeah, it's all good. We're talking about what's meant for us and what's not, and having the patience to work through it. Because we don't always know what's best for us, and we've talked about that. And so having the patience to discover what's best for us is great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
I agree. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And that's not about being laid back either, right? Like, these are things that we do have to contemplate in our experience. They're all part of our growth, right? And we can be totally laid back and still suffer in our experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that doesn't mean that we don't ever have heart-wrenching experiences. We just recognize sometimes that, some experiences we do let go of, and some experiences are worth the suffering. And I think that we also have to recognize that suffering in and of itself is not right or wrong, good or bad. It's an experience that brings us to another experience.
Right.
That's it. Right? And so it has its purpose, just like every other emotion and every other feeling. And when we are suffering through something, it's a moment for us to reflect and go, okay, why am I suffering? What am I holding on to? What is going on inside of me in this moment that is causing me this pain? That's it. It's in and of itself, it's not a bad thing. And I think that the more we look at suffering as this horrific experience to be avoided, the more we miss its entire message, right? But suffering is there as a messenger, just like every other emotion.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a
So we have to give it its place, just like all of the others. And being, laid back doesn't mean that we don't give all of our emotions their due place. Right? It just means that we're going to pick and choose, what we want to allow in our experience, maybe. And it might mean that we're not going to get upset about everything that happens. But, even this term laid back, I don't know, maybe I'm defining it differently than others. Semantics is a funny, funny thing. And I could get into relational frame theory, but I'm not going to go there right now. I'm not going to geek out on it.
You're not going to geek out?
Here's the thing, right? Like,
But I love it when you geek out, Jen.
okay, I can go through my day and I can, have somebody scream at me in their car because they decided that they wanted to be whatever. And I could be like, meh, whatever. I don't care. Or I could think, what a horrible person. And I could let them ruin my entire day. Right. So maybe one is considered laid back and one is considered uptight. Maybe that's the definition that we're using of laid back. I don't, I think it depends on kind of how we're defining it here. Or, are we using laid back as, I open the fridge and the milk spills and that has now just ruined my day, right? Like, to what extent are we talking about,
It's all
you know,
relative, right? It's very
right?
subjective.
Exactly. It's a really subjective thing. And so I think that I just want to be mindful of that as we're talking about this subject, right? But I just think that it's really important to recognize how we label ourselves when
Yeah.
we're talking about all of this, right? Because we can be laid back, we can be uptight, we can be this, we can be that. We're humans having a human experience, and we just need to be gracious with ourselves as we have it.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And I think if we can do, like you said, not judge ourselves, right? Not judge because it's really when we're talking about a good experience versus a bad experience, it's us that put the label on it.
Yeah.
So, do you remember the 4 things you said to release to gain detachment?
Did I have 4 things?
I don't know.
Did I channel 4 things?
And I was in my own channel,
Uh,
so I don't remember. Sorry, Amanda, you might have to look back. Jen and I, so just as a framework, Jen and I tend to channel a lot of our responses and the conversation. It tends to be kind of, so we don't really remember what we say because often the guides are working through us. So, yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't remember what it was.
Thank you. Thank you
she
for
can rewind.
reminding.
Thank you.
I don't know.
We had some good comments here. So Kaylee says, impatience is so hard in society where instant gratification seems to always be the goal. Absolutely. And Gerald says, when we realize that our covenant or contract has been completed. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a big one that's coming up for a lot of people right now with Venus in retrograde. So many relationships are facing that in terms of, and like all kinds of relationships in terms of coming up for review sort of thing, right? I think we must have all signed a contract at the same time that was coming up for review this period. And then we've got Cosmic Blue Aviate. I recently just found the calm that you described because I put so many challenges to learn that it's new. It's a new feeling of odd but silent peacefulness. Great but new. Yeah, I almost worried when I first started experiencing it. That's why I spoke to Jen about it. I'm like, does this mean I don't care anymore? Does this mean I'm not showing compassion? I was all worried.
Yeah.
And
Not at all. It's like being in the eye of the storm. Like, you're there, you care, you see it all. You're happy to help and to be there and to give your support when you can, and you love and there's empathy, and yet if it's not your duty, you're like, it's okay.
not my monkeys, not my
It's all right.
circus. I'm okay.
It's not my circus. I'm okay.
Yep.
Right? I still love, but I can take a step back and it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And Kaylee says, yeah, that calmness can definitely be scary when you're used to the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, well said, ladies. Thank you. Oh, yes, we did have a lobster earlier. Apparently that's something that you teach, Jen?
Oh, the lobster. Yes. The lobster story. So it's about how the lobsters grow. We've talked about it on the show before. The story about how lobsters grow. And it's about, again, being comfortable enough to shed the shell. I don't know what in context you shared the lobster, but maybe in context of being willing to share on here and being vulnerable, because we really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we really do.
And appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable here, and for this to be a safe space for everybody to be vulnerable and share and grow together.
Yeah.
And so, really quickly, lobster shells don't grow. Lobsters grow inside of the shell, but eventually the shell gets too small, too tight, right? And the lobster's growing and growing, but at some point they have to go find a safe space, generally under a rock somewhere, where they can actually shed their shell, form a new shell, and then go back out into safe, with their safe shell on before they. So, being able to find a place where you can be vulnerable, shed that shell, take the time to grow a new shell in order to be safe, to go back out, venture into the world again, to grow for a while longer, and then come back, shed the shell, grow a new one again, right? And so to be able to have that safe space, that safe community, I just think it's a beautiful thing to be able to have each other and have this place to talk about this kind of stuff and to grow together.
Yeah, community is so important. You were talking about pain sometimes being necessary in growing and moving on. Yeah. And then that's exactly what I asked myself, and that's exactly where I sat, the eye of the storm. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, guys, I can't believe it, but we're actually like 7 minutes over the hour. So it was such a beautiful conversation today. I'm so, so happy that you all joined us. It is such a blessing to have you all here. So we're super thrilled that you joined us and contributed in the community and the conversation. And thank you, Kaylee. Yeah, we love having you part of the community. And thank you, Gerald. It's always great to see you on here. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for all your help. Please remember to like and subscribe to all of the people that are on here. Actually, we have a lot of them. So if you have not, please do so. All of these people have their own pages as well. So we're super honored that they have joined us on ours, and we'll be looking for yours as well. So that's how community works. We all support each other. And I'm just super filled with gratitude at the moment. My heart chakra is just like, so I thank you all for joining us. And oh, perfect, Amanda. Thank you. She's going to post the 4 things. Perfect. Thank you. We'll have to look back so we know what we said. So, do you want to talk about a few of the things that are coming up, Jen? Because we have a couple of exciting things happening. Quickly
and
don't ever.
You can talk as much as you want. Don't ever feel. Yeah,
sure.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, this is no. We want the feedback. Absolutely. Yeah, we want the conversation. That's what this is all about. That's why we do it live.
We love it when you guys engage and talk and all of that.
If we just wanted it to be one-sided, we'd just put out videos. But that's why we do live, because we want the interaction. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly, Gerald.
Yes,
exactly. You guys,
very much. A lot of it.
Yeah, add so much value.
It's you guys that add the value. We just talk. It's we're just here to talk. So we're happy to talk with you. Absolutely thrilled. So we have a couple of workshops coming up. So all of you should know that Jacqueline Richards, I don't know if you know her, but she is going to be she's adding another yoga class to the week, and it's online yoga. She's going to be she does chair yoga on Sunday mornings, and she's adding a class this week, Thursday mornings at 11. That's Eastern Standard. And you can do it online, and she's there to watch and make sure everything is safe. And it's great. I've been doing it every Sunday. And so that's starting this week. We also have a bunch of classes coming up with the Academy. Jen and I, just a sneak peek, we're working on a retreat. That's a 1-day retreat in person. And then we also have our 9-week Know Thyself program that's coming up. When are we starting that? Is it October? No, September. End of September, we're starting that. And so it's all about getting to know yourself, both of those. And we're working on a package
that
deal.
One will have actually some human design in it as well.
Yep, as well as the Mayan Oracle. Mayan Oracle, there's going to be dream building, there's going to be intuitive drawing, all sorts of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, if you know anybody that's interested.
The 14th.
Oh, okay, perfect. Oh, that's really soon. That's for the 9 week. So take a look. Twillow Lifestyle Academy. So twillowlifestyle.ca. Okay. Go to the events and classes section. And it's going to be lots of fun. What else is going on? What am I missing? We have Flower Essences class with Gary coming up.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Working on getting a date from Ruth for essential oils. Almost have a date from Nicole for she's going to be teaching about goddesses and about some basic energetic nutrition. Cool. Yes, and of course, Reiki and Aqualead as well. First levels are coming up this month as well. So lots going on with us. So join us. Let's have fun. Let's have fun and learn together.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome. So, and don't forget to check out all these awesome people on the chat, all of their pages as well, please. Okay. And yes, we are having a very challenging guest on Monday next week. Gerald is joining us on Monday, this coming Monday. Are we doing like some extended version of Twillow Talk on Monday or something?
Wasn't it supposed to be like somebody requested like a 3-hour something?
I'm not sure we'll go 3 hours, maybe 2. We could maybe do an extended version for the holiday day.
I think
something like that. I wonder if that fun guy will be there.
Right.
So big special edition of Twillow Talk next week. Please let us know if you have any ideas for topics that you'd like to talk about as well, okay? You can leave them in the chat here and we'll... This kind of fun guy? Is that what we're looking at?
I mean, I could probably bring the computer outside and we could do some, walking around and checking the ground. And no, they're not that kind of.
I don't know. What kind of mushrooms you got? I've never done that, folks. Just for the record, I've never done that. I just thought it would be funny. So yes, tell your friends, share the video, because Gerald's joining us for an extended version. We're excited. For entertainment purposes only. Exactly. Yes, we're not a proponent of any of that.
I may even bring a puppy or two down.
Ooh, as well as a cat.
The cat's always here.
Absolutely.
She may run away though if I bring a puppy in.
Uh-oh. Twillow Talk
After
after hours. Ooh, what kind of Twillow Talk is that going to be?
I don't know. I'm bringing in mushrooms, and I don't.
I'm looking forward to Twillow Talk next week. I guess we will see what Twillow Talk is going to be about, won't we? I don't think there's one of those cards in this pack, though.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
No. May need another deck. Okay. So.
Gerald, look what you're starting.
Oh, dear. You wanted to come on, Gerald. It's a preview.
Yeah, I do have a magical herb deck.
Yeah, me too,
I
actually.
think you have the same one, actually.
Yes, it's this one.
Yeah, you have the same one.
You're going to be on your bestest behavior? Well, that's no fun.
No, it's bestest.
Oh, yeah, okay. As long as it's bestest, we're good. Awesome. So until then, we wish you all a wonderful week. We're sending you so much love from our hearts to yours. We hope that you have a wonderful week, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye now.